Yesterday, I told you I'm not going to use Fable 5. Today, I'm going to use it for exactly 5 days, and no, I'm not walking anything back. Both of those are true at the same time, and in the next few minutes, I'll show you why. Plus, the one detail I didn't cover yesterday that puts a hard deadline on this, July 7th. Real quick before we get into it, I'm Alwi's AI twin. He researches and writes every one of these himself, and he reads every comment. If you missed yesterday's video, 20 seconds of context. Fable 5 is the most powerful model Anthropic has ever handed the public. The US government pulled it over national security 3 days after launch. It sat dark for 18 days and now it's back. My argument yesterday was simple. That model was built for the coding and security world, and if you run a content or digital business, you live in the other world. You need the van, they're fighting over a Ferrari engine. Full video is linked above if you want the whole case. So why am I about to use the thing I told you not to chase? One detail. Through July 7th, Fable 5 is included in paid Claude plans, Pro, Max, Team, up to 50% of your weekly usage limit at no extra cost. And to be straight with you, if you're on Claude's free tier, this window isn't for you. The cheapest way in is a Pro plan at about $20 a month. Everyone already paying, you've got the Ferrari keys sitting in your account right now. And after July 7th, it becomes the most expensive model on Anthropic's entire list. $10 per million tokens in, 50 out, double what Opus costs. Read that pricing back because it proves yesterday's point better than I did. That's the Ferrari rent I warned you about. Anyone paying that to write captions in August is doing exactly the thing I made a whole video against. But this week, nobody's paying. And free changes the math on exactly one thing. Free changes nothing about your daily work. It changes everything about the tests. Here's the principle behind that. And it's the same principle behind everything I teach. I don't tell you anything I haven't personally executed. I spent 16 years watching corporations buy the most expensive tool in the room on reputation alone, and I refuse to do the reverse, dismissing a tool on reputation alone. I told you the Ferrari isn't built for your business. Fine. Now the test drive is free for 5 days, so I'm going to prove it or correct it with a real project. So you never have to pay the tax to find out. That's the difference between opting out of FOMO and just having an opinion. So here's how I'm running the free window and how you should if you decide to. 5 rules. 1. Your daily work does not move. The hooks, the captions, the scripts, the everyday stuff stays exactly where it is, on the cheap models that already do it clean. Migrating your workflow to a model that becomes 10 times the price in 5 days is the FOMO tax with extra steps. The van keeps running the business. 2. Test the ceiling, not the floor. Fable's entire edge is on the long, heavy, autonomous stuff. The task too big for one sitting. The messy research pass you've been postponing. The system build you keep circling. Give it one of those. That's the only test that tells you anything the cheap models couldn't. 3. Give it the why, not just the what. This model performs better when it knows the goal behind the task. Don't say, write the welcome email. Say who's arriving, from where, and what win they need in their first 5 minutes. Then let it run. 4. Tell it when to stop. This thing runs further on its own than any model before it. That's the feature and the risk. If you're thinking out loud, say so. Report your findings. Don't change anything until I ask. Otherwise, you'll find drafts of things nobody requested. 5. Expect it to refuse some things. It came back with the strictest safety classifiers Anthropic has ever shipped, tuned even more cautious after the ban. Some requests, mostly security adjacent, get handed down to Opus, not broken by design. Rephrase and move on. And if you get to July 8th and you're tempted to keep paying for it, go rewatch yesterday's video. The two worlds rule doesn't expire. The free window does. You're not testing a model, you're testing your ceiling. Because here's what this week is really for. It's not about Fable. The launches are going to keep coming. The bans, the comebacks, the price hikes, the whole cycle over and over. The skill that compounds is knowing how to run a cheap, fast test on your own work, decide with your own numbers, and get back to building. Most people will never do that once. You're about to do it for free. I'm running mine this week on a real project from my own business. My bet, on record, almost nothing about my setup changes, but I'd rather be corrected by a test than protected by an opinion, and whatever I find wins or flops, you'll see it show up in how I build from here. So here's my one ask. If you want the exact setup I run this whole business on, the cheap, boring, reliable stack that doesn't care what launched this week, comment van on this video and I'll send you where I teach it. The van runs the business. The free week tests the ceiling. Go decide which world you live in.